What if you could shift realities without leaving this one? No portals, no parallel Hogwarts, no waking up in another universe, just waking up in the exact same room, but as a different version of you. Same life, completely different experience. Today we're talking about reality shifting without fantasy. Not bashing imagination, not judging anyone's beliefs, but asking a deeper question. How do you actually measurably change the reality you wake up in tomorrow? Because the hard truth is, many people use fantasy realities as a coping mechanism. They feel powerful in scripts and powerless in real life. If that's you, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to show you how to bring that power back home. For the next 15 minutes, I'm going to treat your current life as the main timeline and show you how to shift inside it so clearly that people around you can't help but notice something's changed. In this video, we're redefining reality shifting as a practical skill, the ability to deliberately change what you think, feel, and do so consistently that your external life has to reorganize around it. No fantasies, no escapism, just grounded transformation. We'll break down how identity actually works, why your brain resists change, and the difference between visualizing and embodying a new reality. You'll learn a clear step-by-step framework to shift from version 1.0 you to version 2.0 you in the life you already have. If you're serious about this kind of deep, real-world change, this channel is built for you. So if you find value here, consider subscribing and tapping the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. And stay with me all the way to the end because I'll give you a simple weekly routine that ties everything together into a realistic plan you can start using tonight. Let's start by stripping the mystique. What is reality in this context? Practically, your reality is made of three layers: your perception, what you notice and focus on; your patterns, what you repeatedly think, feel, and do; and your environment, people, places, systems. When people talk about shifting to another reality, they usually mean jumping to a timeline where those three layers are already different. But there's a more honest way. Accept that your external situation might not change overnight, while radically transforming your perception and patterns today. Think about it. If you woke up tomorrow with the same job, same room, same phone, but with a different nervous system response to stress, a different story about who you are, and different automatic behaviors, wouldn't that feel like a new reality? Reality shifting without fantasy is about mastering those inner levers so thoroughly that your outer circumstances start lagging behind, then eventually catch up. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Fantasy realities are attractive because they bypass the messy middle: effort, uncertainty, and time. You imagine a version of you who's confident, loved, successful, but that version has already done the work you're avoiding. Psychologically, this can create what's called experiential avoidance. Instead of facing anxiety, loneliness, or shame in your real life, you mentally check out to a world where those feelings don't exist. In the short term, it feels soothing. Long term, it reinforces the belief: real life is unbearable unless I escape. I'm not saying you should never imagine, daydream, or script. The problem is when the fantasy becomes your main source of safety and significance. Reality shifting without fantasy asks a bolder question. What if that same energy you pour into alternate worlds could be used to sculpt this one, so that your room, your body, your relationships slowly become places you don't need to escape from? If we take out the magic portals, what's left is identity. You don't get a new reality without a new you living in it. Not a totally different personality, but a different configuration of beliefs, emotions, and behaviors. Identity is mostly a story your brain tells to explain your patterns. I'm shy. I'm inconsistent. I always mess things up. These aren't facts. They're explanations your mind repeats until they feel like reality. When you script a different reality, you're actually scripting a different identity. Confident, disciplined, loved, capable. The mistake is assuming that identity can appear fully formed just because you imagined it. Instead, think of identity as a role you train into, like an actor rehearsing for a demanding character. At first, it feels fake. Over time, the lines sink in. The posture, tone, and choices become natural. Reality shifting, grounded in psychology, is identity rehearsal plus consistent evidence building in everyday life. Let's get practical. To shift realities without fantasy, you need a clear from-to map. Step 1. Define your current self-profile. No judgment, just data. On paper, write 3 columns. Think, feel, do. Under think, list your common thoughts. I'm behind. No one understands me. I'll start tomorrow. Under feel, write your dominant emotional states. Anxious, numb, hopeful, resentful. Under do, list your typical actions. Scrolling late, procrastinating, isolating, half-starting projects. This isn't a self-attack. It's a reality scan. You can't shift what you refuse to see. Now, step 2. Define your chosen self-profile. Same 3 columns, but this time, describe the version of you who has already made the changes you want in this same life. Same school or job, same family, but different patterns. We'll use these 2 profiles as coordinates, point A and point B of your reality shift. No portals, just precision. Once you have your 2 profiles, the next step is micro-bridging, designing small, repeatable actions that move you from current to chosen. Most people try to leap. Tomorrow I'll wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, work out, eat perfectly, and study for 5 hours. That's not shifting. That's self-sabotage disguised as ambition. Instead, choose one bridge habit for each column. For think, a daily thought practice, like writing 1 sentence your chosen self would believe, then acting as if it might be true for the next hour. For feel, a regulation habit, breathing exercise, short walk, journaling, to handle emotions instead of escaping. For do, a tiny behavioral upgrade, like 5 minutes of focused work before you're allowed to scroll. Each micro bridge is a vote for the new reality. Individually, they feel small. Stacked daily, they start to alter how you experience the exact same circumstances. Fantasy-based shifting puts most of the power in imagination. Grounded shifting respects imagination but ties it to behavioral evidence. Here's a simple loop. Imagine, embody, evidence, update. Imagine. Spend a few minutes seeing your chosen self navigating your actual day, your commute, your classroom, your notifications, without turning it into a movie set. Embody. Pick one scene and in real life, act it out as that version of you. Not perfectly, just 5% more aligned. Evidence. Afterward, write down one piece of proof. I answered that message calmly. I studied 10 minutes more than usual. I went to bed slightly earlier. Update. Let that evidence nudge your identity story. Maybe I'm becoming someone who... When you run this loop consistently, your brain starts treating the new pattern as reality because it's backed by actual sensory experience, not just mental cinema. That's how you shift without lying to yourself. Let's talk nervous system because you can't shift realities if your body doesn't feel safe in the new one. Big identity jumps often trigger alarm. Your heart races before you speak up. You feel sick before you set a boundary. You freeze when you try to start that project. Then your brain whispers, "See, this isn't you. Go back." This is not the universe rejecting your shift. It's your biology protecting what's familiar. So we work with it. Before practicing a new behavior, take 60 seconds to regulate. Slow, extended exhales. Feeling your feet. Relaxing your jaw and shoulders. Tell yourself, we're safe. We're just trying something new. After the action, regardless of outcome, celebrate the attempt, not the result. That rewires your body to associate new behaviors with safety and pride instead of panic and shame. Over time, the new reality stops feeling like an act and starts feeling like home at the level of your nervous system. Reality shifting without fantasy also means confronting your environment. You can change a lot internally, but if your physical and digital spaces constantly pull you back into old patterns, the shift will feel exhausting. Start with your room or main workspace. Ask, if my chosen self lived here, what's one small change they'd make this week? Maybe it's clearing the desk, making the bed, or setting up a dedicated corner for deep work. Then look at your digital environment. Who are you following that constantly drags you into comparison, drama, or escapism? Who nudges you toward growth, skill building, and grounded inspiration? Curate ruthlessly. This isn't about aesthetic perfection, it's about friction. Make old habits slightly harder, snacks farther away, distracting apps off the home screen. Make new habits slightly easier. Book on the pillow, journal on the desk. You're not just changing yourself, you're teaching your environment to cooperate with your new reality. A big trap in fantasy shifting is waiting to feel motivated, confident, or perfectly aligned before you act. In grounded shifting, we reverse it. Feelings often follow behavior. Think of your chosen self and identify three core traits, maybe disciplined, kind, courageous. Now, instead of trying to feel that way, design one visible action for each trait you can do today. Disciplined. Finish one tiny task exactly when you said you would. Kind. Send one sincere message of appreciation. Courageous. Say one honest sentence you've been avoiding. Each action is like pulling a thread from the future into the present. You're not pretending, you're sampling. Track these in a simple log. Date, trait, micro action. After a couple of weeks, you'll have a list of concrete moments where you actually were that version of yourself. Your brain believes repeated, recorded behavior far more than affirmations whispered into a void. Let's address spirituality and manifestation because many reality shifting communities blend these ideas. You don't have to abandon all spiritual beliefs to get grounded, but you do need to distinguish between inner stance and outer action. If you resonate with concepts like law of assumption, use them in a practical way. Assume that your efforts matter, that you're capable of change, that small steps compound. Let those assumptions fuel consistent behavior, not replace it. Pray, script, or visualize if those practices center you, but always end with a concrete question. What's one aligned action I can take in the next 24 hours? Then do that, even if it's mundane. When spiritual frameworks become permission to wait for the universe to rearrange everything while you do nothing, they turn into sophisticated avoidance. When they deepen your courage to take imperfect action, they become powerful allies in grounded reality shifting. Now let's build a simple daily practice to keep your shift anchored. Think of it as a three-part ritual. Check in, align, execute. Check in. 5 minutes. In the morning or evening, glance at your current versus chosen self profiles. Rate your day from 1 to 10 on how aligned you were without self-attack. Align. 5 minutes. Choose one thought, one feeling skill, and one behavior you'll focus on tomorrow as your bridge. For example, thought, I'm learning to show up on time. Feeling skill, 3 calming breaths before hard tasks. Behavior, start homework by 7:30. Execute, throughout the day. Use tiny cues, phone alarms, sticky notes, wallpapers to remind you of your one-day experiment. You're not trying to fix your whole life in 24 hours. You're rehearsing being the chosen self in today's scenes. That repetition is what slowly but surely turns acting into being. Before we wrap up, let's compress everything into a few key takeaways you can remember. First, reality shifting without fantasy is about transforming your perception, patterns, and environment inside the life you already have. No escape required. Second, identity is a story built from repeated behavior. You don't wait for a new self to appear. You rehearse it in small, consistent ways until your brain updates the story. Third, micro bridges beat massive leaps. One thought upgrade, one emotional regulation tool, one tiny action per day will outperform grand but unsustainable overhauls. Fourth, your nervous system must feel safe in the new reality. Regulate before and after new behaviors so change feels manageable, not traumatic. Fifth, imagination and spirituality are useful when they drive aligned action, not when they replace it. If all you did was implement a simple daily check-in and one micro-bridge habit, your main timeline would start to feel very different within weeks. If this video shifted how you think about reality shifting, don't let it stay as just an interesting idea. Pick one tiny action from today and commit to doing it in the next 24 hours. Seriously, decide right now what it is. If you want more grounded, no-fluff content on identity, habits, and real-life transformation, you're invited to be part of this community. Hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and turn this channel into a regular checkpoint for your growth. In the comments, tell me two things: your chosen self's top one trait, and the smallest action you'll take this week to embody it. Reading each other's plans can spark ideas and accountability. And if you know someone who's lost in fantasy realities and quietly hurting, consider sharing this with them. Not to shame, but to offer another path. You don't need a portal to another world, you need a plan for this one. Let's build it one day at a time.